Kitchen knives. A compilation of skills for knife making. Japanese swords are recognized as artworks because of their sharpness and beauty. They are also known to be some of the sharpest cutlery in the world. Efforts and enthusiasm in the pursuit of sharpness by Japanese craftsmen have brought great sharpening skills. The Kenno area is well known as a production center for the processing of metal. It is said there is nothing they cannot make. Thus, many products have been launched and successfully marketed. We, Fujitora Industry Company Limited, also in this Kenno area, are known as one of the top 5 manufacturers of knives in Japan. We have been pursuing ways to better knife sharpness since the establishment of our company. Our brand name, Tojiro, is very famous all over the world. What is necessary for sharpness? The most important areas are material, structure, and edging. Edging is especially important. Sometimes this factor even affects the taste of food. However, even if the edging is good, it is certainly worn away with use, as the blade becomes dull. In traditional Japanese restaurants, chefs must sharpen their knives every day after work, which tells you how important sharpening and edging is. Let's learn how to resharpen kitchen knives through Fujitora's edging skill. Whetstones are necessary for sharpening, and there are typically 3 kinds: rough grinding, middle grinding, and finishing. They are categorized by how fine the stone's grains are. In general, middle is good enough for house use, but if you would like to make the edge better, the finishing stone is recommended. To make sharpening easier and more efficient, this kind of container and whetstone table can help. Soak the whetstone in water before sharpening. In general, the double-edged knife is common for house use. The angle against the whetstone is important when you sharpen these kinds of knives. All kitchen knives have cutting edges, and the tip of the edge, which we call koba, controls the function of the knives. If you sharpen narrower than the width of koba, you will get more sharpness but lose durability. If you make it wider, you will get more durability but lose sharpness. Keeping the angle on whetstone is important. You have to hold the knife using your thumb to keep the angle and degrees. Put the knife on the whetstone with the cutting edge facing you. The angle of the cutting edge should be 15 degrees. Angle the knife 45 degrees against the vertical center line of the whetstone, and put your left hand around the edge where you would like to sharpen. Let's start from the tip to heel in order. It may be better to divide the areas of the knife into several parts while sharpening, until you can get used to sharpening the entire edge. Put your weight into the process as you hold that angle. A liquid that looks like mud will appear. It is very necessary for sharpening, so please do not wash it away. Unstable holding may change the angle, which is not good. Also, if you sharpen moving forward only, the edge will be rounded and it won't be sharpened. An angle stabilizer may help you until you can get used to sharpening the knife. If the edge is correctly sharpened, burrs will appear on the side and you can feel it with your finger. Burrs are proof that a knife is being sharpened. Check it several times with your fingers during sharpening. Sharpen the whole edge the same way. Turn it over and take the burrs away. The ratio 7:3 should be better. 7 front, 3 back. The front and back is reversed when sharpening left-handed knives. When you get used to it, you can sharpen a knife using your left hand in the same way as your right hand. This is actually better because both sides can be sharpened equally. The same way is used for finishing as middle grind. Cutting newspaper helps to take tiny burrs away. The sharpness came back. A section of knives are generally cuneiform, as you can see. This means the closer to the spine, the thicker. If you repeat sharpening, the edge will be thicker and the angle also obtuse, which means the edge becomes dull. To solve this problem, you have to make the whole kitchen knife thinner, and we call this togioroshi. Togioroshi also repairs cracks. Grind 1/3 of the whole blade for togioroshi. A rough grind whetstone will be sufficient. Togioroshi is basically the same as the sharpening we showed. When you have sharpened several times, you will need to check whether or not the edge has become thicker. If it has, it may be time to do togioroshi. Togioroshi comes prior to sharpening. Single-edged traditional Japanese kitchen knives are easier for sharpening compared to double-edged. All you have to do is just put it on the whetstone at the same angle as the inclination of the knife. Start from the tip of the knife. If there is a curve, you will have to make sure the edge is on the whetstone. If you can see scratches, it means the blade is correctly put on the whetstone. Deba is also the same. If you can see a warped backside on the edge, front side sharpening has been completed. Make the whole edge flat. Japanese knives are usually made by hand and forged, so it may have unevenness even if the surface looks flat. Turn it over, put it flat on the whetstone, and take the warp and burrs away. The back side of the Japanese knife is dented. You will see the shape when you sharpen this side. Because deba is used for cutting bones of fish using the heel, sometimes we make the part double-edged. Putting edge from the other side is better, and the ratio is 40% of the whole edge. This makes the edge stronger with less cracks and chipping. This is not essential. The same for finishing as middle grind. This affects the taste of sashimi, so we highly recommend one to use finishing whetstone. At the end, for single edge knives, put the just tip of the edge and make the angle a little more obtuse. Then, sharpen 2 or 3 times each side. We call this process kobawase, which makes the edge stronger and less chipped. Whetstone is also worn away. Because the surface won't be flat after the use of repeated sharpening, it needs to be maintained. Whetstone flatter makes can make the surface flat. There are many simple sharpeners on the markets these days, but most do not sharpen edges well. This kind of sharpener makes the edges rough or notchy, just like a saw, which slices food well when you cut with it. But because it slices the food, you may feel the knife is sharpened. It is not. It does not last longer and is just temporary. A sharpener can never be substituted for a whetstone. Using a sharpener may result in cracks or chips because it takes the strength away from the edge. There are many scratches and flaws on the edge, as you can see. A sharpener is not good for the edge. The more numbers, the smoother. No sharpener can sharpen like this. A sharpener is just for temporary repairs when you do not have much time. We highly recommend to use whetstones for sharpening. Well, how was it? Sharpening seems to be difficult, but actually it is not once you get the knack of it. You can use sharp kitchen knives every day. Resharpening culture is from the old Japanese mind, which uses things longer with an attachment, and it is certainly one of our greatest assets. Now please do not throw away your kitchen knife, even if it becomes dull. By sharpening and reusing knives, we can help solve many environmental problems. Enjoy your cooking life.